Hello, I'm David Kerr and you're watching Shalom World News. Here's your latest news headlines from around the globe. The Islamic group Boko Haram is thought to be responsible for an attack upon a Nigerian village that has left at least 81 people dead. The fatal raid upon the village of Faduma Kolomdi in the northeastern state of Borno took place on Tuesday morning. Eyewitnesses say the jihadist militants requested that locals turn over their weapons and offered to preach a religious sermon before opening fire on men, women and children at close quarters. The attack lasted for 6 hours. In addition to those killed, another 13 people were injured, while 7 more villagers were abducted. The attackers fled after the Nigerian Air Force fired shots at them from a fighter jet. Last month, the United States Commission on Religious Freedom identified Nigeria as a country of particular concern when it comes to religious liberty. Meanwhile, last week saw a Protestant pastor and his wife also become victims of anti-Christian violence in Nigeria. The Reverend Emmanuel Saba Bileya and his wife Juliana, who is thought to have been pregnant, were gunned down on Monday, June the 1st, while working on their farm in the Taraba State in northeast Nigeria. The couple leave behind 8 children. Reverend Bileya was a pastor with the Christian Reformed Church in the Donga area of Taraba. He was also an alumnus of Calvin Theological Seminary in the US state of Michigan. The Vatican have announced that there will be no outdoor Eucharistic procession during this Sunday's celebration of the Feast of Corpus Christi. That's due, they say, to COVID-19 restrictions. Instead, Pope Francis will lead solemn benediction of the Blessed Sacrament within St. Peter's Basilica following Sunday Mass. The congregation within the Basilica will also be limited to only 50 souls. The Feast of Corpus Christi, which is also known as the Solemnity of the Body and Blood of Christ, is celebrated either on the Thursday after Trinity Sunday or the following Sunday. The feast was instituted by Pope Urban IV in 1246 to honour the presence of Jesus Christ in the Blessed Sacrament. This Sunday's Mass from St. Peter's Basilica will begin at 9:45 a.m. Rome time and will be live streamed on Vatican Media. The Bishop of Portsmouth in England is urging both Catholics and all people of goodwill on the Channel Island of Guernsey to take a stand against proposed new abortion laws, which he describes as fundamentally detestable. The new laws would seek to raise the time limit for abortion on Guernsey from 12 weeks to 24 weeks. They would also permit at-home abortions and the abortion of children with disabilities up to the day of birth. Bishop Egan explained his thinking in a letter addressed to the parish of Our Lady and the Saints of Guernsey, written upon the Solemnity of the Holy Trinity on June the 7th. Referencing the biblical passage which recalls the visitation of the pregnant Mary to her equally pregnant cousin Elizabeth, Bishop Egan pointed out that both Jesus and St. John the Baptist in the womb were not just biological materials, nor an assemblage of cells or embryos, but were in fact children. Bishop Egan also insisted that a full, open and frank consultation and debate are needed on the issue and stressed that ramming through legislation at the present moment is wrong, especially given the current COVID-19 crisis. Pope Francis has established a new charitable fund to help those within the Diocese of Rome who are facing financial hardship or who have lost their job due to the COVID-19 crisis. Entitled Jesus the Divine Worker Fund, it will initially have an endowment of €1 million. The Holy Father explained the rationale for the fund in a letter to the Vicar General of the Diocese of Rome, Cardinal Angelo de Donatis. In it, the Pope expressed his concern for various groups who have been economically damaged by the COVID-19 outbreak and lockdown, including daily and occasional workers who have been laid off and those workers with fixed-term contracts which have not been renewed. The Pope called upon the whole Church to contribute generously to the fund, saying that, quote, "It is not sufficient to share only the superfluous." The Primate of All Ireland is welcoming news that churches are to reopen in the Republic of Ireland later this month. Following a drop in the number of COVID-19 cases, the Irish Prime Minister or Taoiseach, Leo Varadkar, has announced that places of worship can reopen on June the 29th. In response, Archbishop Eamon Martin of Armagh says he and all other priests in Ireland are looking forward to celebrating public masses and administering the sacraments with congregations. He's now urging all dioceses and parishes across the Republic of Ireland to prepare for a safe reopening of churches, including implementing guidelines for social distancing and good hygiene. Archbishop Martin says he's also praying that the government in Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom, will also give the go-ahead for public masses to resume soon. Finally, the Diocese of Beaumont in Texas has a new bishop. He's Monsignor David Toops, who is the current rector of the St. Vincent de Paul Seminary in Florida's Boynton Beach. He'll succeed Bishop Curtis Guillory, who has served as Bishop of Beaumont for the past 20 years. 49-year-old Monsignor Toops grew up in Louisiana. He was ordained to the holy priesthood in 1997 for the Diocese of St. Petersburg in Florida. He has since served as both a pastor and a seminary professor, as well as serving for several years in Washington, D.C. with the US Conference of Catholic Bishops. Monsignor Toops is also the author of 2 books entitled Reclaiming Our Priestly Character and The Priests We Need, A Rector Speaks to His Seminarians. As his episcopal motto, he has chosen St. Paul's aphorism to the Church in Rome, "For those who love God, all things work together for good," which, as it happens, is also his predecessor's motto. Monsignor Toops will be ordained on August the 21st at St. Anthony's Cathedral Basilica in Beaumont. Congratulations to Bishop-elect Toops, ad multos annos. Well, that's all for now. Do join me next time for some more headlines from around the globe. Until then, may God bless you. Shalom.